I'm Oliver Conger. I'm the Managing Director and owner of British Rototherm. And today I'm going to cover three things with you. Firstly, a bit about my story and how I got involved with British Rototherm. Then what we've learned and what we've gained from our training with Toyota. Some expected things, some not so expected things. And finally, what are the next steps we've been working on following that. So what do British Rototherm do? We manufacture the most accurate and reliable measurement solutions for flow, level, pressure and temperature. Some examples, half of what we do is ultrasonic sensors. So the Burj Khalifa, our clamp-on flow meters manage all of the water management throughout the whole of Burj Khalifa. Our ultrasonic sensors fit to the outside of pressurized tanks, and we measure to plus or minus 1 millimeter within inside the tank, which is more accurate than anybody in the world. And then on the pressure and temperature side, we measure the pressure and temperature inside the nuclear reactor in some of the most hardest and harshest environments in the world, such as you see there. So, how did I get involved with Rototherm? Well, there was an opportunity back in 2011, and myself and my brother acquired the business. And it was, at the time, 108 people, 2 manufacturing sites, and really it was run as a lifestyle business. This was the shop floor that we purchased. It was chaotic, it was a complete mess, and the only thing that made it worse was the officers were even worse. People were hiding amongst mountains of paperwork. There wasn't even carpet on the floor, or it'd been chewed by mice and rats. And we had benches everywhere, just full of work in progress all over the place. And true story, we were looking for a part on one of the days, and I opened up one of the drawers on the workbenches to find a dead rat inside the drawer. But it got worse. You wouldn't believe it, but I'd come from a corporate world, and we decided, well, let's go and buy some more companies. So we added to the complexity. We put those businesses, we tried to integrate them into our 2 manufacturing sites, and it got more and more complex. So we had a great idea, let's buy and implement a new ERP system. And that's when the fun really began. So our on-time delivery, it was a huge 65 or 70%, it went down to 15%. You know, calls were coming in non-stop. And the low point for me, and I remember it to the day, was the 9th of September 2016, because my wife had just given birth to our son, and within an hour, my phone was ringing off the hook. And it was one of our biggest customers, and they were just complaining. He would let them down on the project, they were getting financial penalties, and they were blaming everything on us. And I had no clue when on earth we were going to deliver this. There had to be a better way. There had to be something that we could do, I could do with this business. So that night, 9th of September 2016, I sat on Google and I was just typing in random things into Google, how to sort out manufacturing, how to make life easier if you've got a disaster of a manufacturing site. And up popped up this guy called Paul Akers. And he had this YouTube video of his factory, and everything was organized. Everything was in its place. He was talking about this thing called lean. All his people were making improvements every day. And I was like, wow, this can't be true. It can't be this way. So I read his book. The very next day, got a copy of his book, and I read his book, and I must have read it 10 times. And I got the only two other people I could convince in our site on this lean journey, and we flew over to the west coast of America, and we went and visited FastCap, which is his business. And it was true. His people were making improvements every single day. They had time to make improvements every single day. So we took that back to Rototherm, and we started implementing some of the things that lean companies do. And we started to fall in love with making improvements. And years on, now our people are making improvements every single day. So we didn't try to implement lean. What we did is we created a culture of continuous improvement. We gave time to every single one of our people every day to make improvements. We started respecting them. We started putting in even the most basic thing. Our old toilets, you wouldn't put your worst enemy into our old factory toilets. I kid you not. Toilets we have today, it would compete with the Four Seasons Hotel. And really these two books, 2 Second Lean, and a new one that Ryan Tierney, if ever you've heard of him, which he's got 12 proven steps for creating a vibrant lean culture. Essentially what we did with Rototherm and our culture was put what is in those books. So if you want to read them or you want to YouTube them, then they will really help with creating a culture. And fast forward on to earlier this year, we were selected as the company within the nuclear submarine program as the company to go to for continuous improvement. From where we were, amongst thousands of companies, we are the exemplar for lean. That's the journey we went on. So you may be thinking, well, where does Toyota come within this story? Well, we'd created a culture for continuous improvement, but it lacked depth. Some of our complex problems kept coming back time and time again. And I had a good fortune of being sat next to Phil at an industry award dinner about 4 years ago. And Phil was chatting to me and he said, I've just created this great program together with Toyota. You guys at Rototherm should do it. And I was like, okay, but we're not interested in consultants, and Toyota's, they're in the stratosphere from where we are. But Phil being Phil, he just wouldn't let it lie. He said, no, Oliver, you gotta do this program. And then he said, well, actually, Welsh government is funding 75% of the costs. So my ears pricked up. I said, well, you know what? I haven't got anything to lose if that's the case. So probably not reluctantly, but hesitantly, I signed up for the first program. It was 3 of our team members, and what really sparked my interest, it wasn't sat inside meeting rooms learning about PowerPoint presentations about lean and tools and everything. It was on the shop floor in D-side. Then they would come back into Rototherm, and it was in the shop floor in Rototherm. The training was on the Gemba. And at the end of the 6 months, those 3 team members had changed. They had changed because of the experience that they had. They were fixing things properly. They were inspiring other team members to try some of the tools out. They were making other people interested in what they're doing. So the experience they had made them want to do more. And so at that point, I got together with them and we decided, well, we're going to go all in on this. We're not just going to send one team and that's it. We're going to try how many people can I run through this program together with Welsh Government and Toyota. And I've never told Toyota this, but we said amongst ourselves, well, actually, if we can show Toyota every time they come and visit us, we've we've learned so much more and we've progressed our business, then all of those team members from Toyota will want to love coming to us. They'll want to give an extra 2 or 3% to us because we're listening, we're learning. So over the last few years, what 4 key steps that Toyota helped us create depth to our lean culture? First one, clarity of leadership. What really is the responsibility of leaders? What really is expected from your leaders in your organization? And if you'd asked me 5 years ago, I said, well, of course we know this. But we didn't. We didn't have anything written down. We expected everyone knew what it was. But when we really started to look, what really do we expect from each of our leaders and what do we expect them to be responsible for? It actually made us look at our leadership team. And we didn't have a standard across all those leaders. And actually, it brought some very difficult conversations within our business. And I had to think, do I want to do this? We had already got to a point where we had exceptionally low turnover of staff. Do I really want to disrupt the system by then saying, well, actually, no, over here, you're not doing what's expected of you. But if I didn't do that, I was letting our team members down. So we took some very difficult decisions, and there was changes in our leadership as a result of that. Secondly, and you hear this a lot at Rototherm now, facts and data. Water's wet, rocks are hard. You can't argue that. So we needed to try and start collecting data around the place. But we didn't really have it. We had a lot of things written on whiteboards. So we had to go and recruit for IT people, recruit for people who had the capability to start collecting data around our facility. We didn't recruit just anyone. We recruited lean thinkers into the business. And we started collecting data. And we started analyzing that data. And one interesting thing that we put together a couple of years ago, again as a result of some of the training from Toyota, is we started collecting data every single part of our operation. And here's a short video to describe our andon system.
These green light bulbs mean all is good and well in the electronics lab. If there is a problem, a team member will press their andon button. This is one here. We recently improved this by putting them in red 3D printed cases. You can see the button easier. Now, the point is they press the button and they know that something happened because their light bulb goes red instead of green. Now, the team leader will get a message on Microsoft Teams as well in case they're not in the room and they don't see the light. The team leader will immediately come to where the andon was pulled. So in this case, it'll say on the Teams message, andon 6.1.6 was pulled, which they know is this packing station here. The team leader will do 4 things. Number 1, they will thank the team member for pulling the andon. Number 2, they'll make sure the area is safe. So it could have been an andon because they spilled something on the floor. So they'll make sure that everything is safe. Then number 3, they'll get the line up and run in again. So that'll either mean take the problem off the team member so the team member can get on with something else, or they'll solve the problem then and there. And then the 4th step is they will log what the problem was in our systems. It'll show up on our dashboards everywhere across the factory. And then every week we'll go through what the most common andon pull was and we'll do a problem solving on it. So we use PPS, taught to us by Toyota. We'll clarify, break down, set the target, do the root cause analysis, develop countermeasures. So that's the step we're on right now. So we need to implement those countermeasures. Then we'll monitor to see if they worked. And then if successful, we'll attend them by updating our Gemba docs.
So that's happening across the facility everywhere, not just operations, HR, sales, engineering. And every day we're having probably best part of 20 to 30 andon pulls. And one of the things I love, which Toyota taught us, that they made us see problems as your treasures. How cool is that? Problems are your treasures. Because that's the opportunity to improve. So every single one of those andon pulls is an opportunity for us to get a bit better. And again, using one of their tools, their PPS, we found a lot of the complex problems don't come back again. So our system becomes more robust. 3, coach and challenge. No challenge, you're being disrespectful for your team, to your team members. You're wasting the potential of your team members. So what was really important for us is to understand as leaders, how do we challenge our team? If we're not challenged, we're like, well, we want to be nice, we don't want to upset the person, Oliver. They're already working really hard, but are you challenging them? Because then you're getting the real potential. No coach, no progress. One of the sessions earlier on, we're talking about the importance of your team leaders and your managers coaching, having time to coach. We probably spent 5% of our time maximum coaching. Now, the higher up you are in the organization, the more time you're spending on coaching. So our team leaders, at least 60% of their time is on coaching and developing. Senior management, even more than that. And number 4, we always say this, but it's all about the people. The biggest gains aren't in the latest bit of software. It's not in the latest tool. It's all in your people. Every single one of them. And if you can unlock that, that's the real secret. That's where the real progress is. And I explained this earlier on, but people change because of the experiences. So what we've found, as things get better, as we get the on-time delivery, as the problems stop occurring each time, as your life becomes a bit easier, as you stretch yourself that little bit further and you achieve it, this is a pretty good experience. Actually, this is pretty cool. I quite enjoy working here. They go back home, they tell their wife, they tell their husband, they tell their children. And it's those experiences that make them really want to push themselves. So here's a quick video of 3 of our guys, Tom, Stuart, and Matt, just explaining what they've learned.
Hi, my name's Tom. I'm the electronics production manager here at British Rototherm. I was privileged enough to be on the first cohort here at Rototherm at TLMC at Deeside. I've done the Lean Start and I've done the Lean Plus. All I can say was transformational for both myself and the electronics team. Just absolute massive change.
Hi, I'm Stuart. I'm head of IT at Rototherm, and one of the key things I learned from doing the Toyota course was the importance of facts and data and how it can show you what your problems are and where they are, and then what we need to focus on to solve them. Also, it helped me see that as the IT department, it's really important we display this facts and data clearly for people to see so that others can see that too. And also, the Toyota course helped me to see that we want to blame the process, not the person, instead of blaming people.
I manage the mechanical operations here at Rototherm. The number 1 biggest thing I learned from the Toyota Lean Start and Lean Plus courses is Genshi Genbutsu, go to the Gemba. So one example, my desk is now on the Gemba. Packing right there is our biggest bottleneck, so my desk is next to it. So in the past I would have been sat in the office telling the packing team to pack faster. Now I'm with the packing team, understanding the waste that's in that process, teaching them the 8 wastes, the Amazon SMED, so we can reduce the waste, so we can pack smarter, not harder. Thanks for watching.
Thank you to Phil and thank you to Toyota. That's what you're doing. You're changing people's lives with what you're teaching us. So impact in order of least importance. Well, we want to talk about the numbers because everyone always asks me about the numbers, but from my side, they are the least important. EBITDA up 15 to 25%. Defects down by 90%. Throughput increase on key lines up 300%. Cash conversion up. But from my side, the numbers are a bright byproduct. They're never the goal. Yes, very important to have a profitable and cash-generative business. But let's take defects. Defects isn't the goal for defects is not to have zero defects. The goal is that defects can never be created. That's the goal. Secondly, growth in our people. Our team members have learnt more. They're getting paid more. They're getting promoted. They're contributing more. They're happier in their workplace. Myself, time to invest in myself. More time these days. My health is better. I've had chance to take opportunities which I'd have never taken before because I was too consumed in all the work that needed to be done. Now I get to enjoy some of the really great opportunities that are out there. More quality time with my family. With my 3 kids, with my wife. More time to spend with them. And my 3rd child, born 18 months ago, this time I was there. The only calls I got, in the 2 weeks after he was born, was congratulations and well wishes. Unexpected improvement from what Toyota and Welsh Government have helped me with. So next steps. What have been the next steps that we've been working on? Well, we've been doing a lot in the last 18 months of accelerating our integration with some of the new technology, automation and AI. And actually, what we found is you need a base of CI to be able to succeed. You have to have that continuous improvement mindset because everything's changing. And if you're used to changing and improving, it's just another thing that we do. It requires quality data. If you haven't got any good data, forget about using an AI tool in your business. It requires involvement, not just in the IT department, not just in the engineering department, everyone involved. And it requires action now. Not, oh, we read about this, oh, what about this, isn't this great? No, let's do it. What are we doing now? So some of the things that we've done. We have our first AI employee in Rototherm. So in one of our lines, we have an AI employee that takes the emails, reads the email, replies to the customer, or loads that order into our system and sends the acknowledgement to the customer. And the person training it and developed it was a person who used to be doing that. So now Molly, she's now looking at some of the other areas and trying to develop another AI employee. So at the end of this year, we will have a number of AI employees around Rototherm. Robotics side. Robotics taking all of our materials around the facility. We've got cobots in operation. When we put a cobot on our welding line last year, on one of our welding lines, who chose the cobot? Well, it was Dan the welder. It wasn't engineering. It wasn't one of the guys in the front office. It was Dan the welder, because who knows more about welding that particular item than Dan? Who went and selected the company? Who trained and put in the software that runs the cobot? It was Dan. And now what's Dan doing? Well, he's setting up the next robot in the place. We're launching a new product for monitoring the level inside trucks. 3 weeks' time, we're launching this. It will be fully assembled with no human touch. First product of us that we've done that has no human touch apart from the calibration, and that required a challenge to the team. I remember saying it to them 12 months ago, and they all laughed at me. I said, no, Oliver, absolutely impossible. 2 weeks later, they came back, well, maybe we can get 50% of it done. No, come on, what can we do? We got to the point all of the assembly can be done, but not the calibration. I'm all right with that. Great learning from our side. And the success of this requires the same. Clarity of roles, facts and data, coach and challenge. That challenge is so important. And then people growth. not fearing what the new technology is going to bring in or the new tool, but actually welcoming it, enjoying it. We're going to try and move to the next level with Toyota training. So last week, I received some great news from Toyota that they will allow us to do the Lean Transform. I think we're going to be the first company in Wales to go through the Lean Transform program. And what's even better is Phil said that Welsh Government will help fund that, which is brilliant. Now, this is where actually government can make a real difference. Great people in government can make things happen, especially within the private sector. So eternally grateful for the work that Phil's done. And then really, my biggest passion is inspiring others. We've been inspired by so many companies and so many people, and we want to inspire other people as well. We want to work together. We were one of the first companies in Wales to have the new Secretary of State and the First Minister in our business. And we were talking about how amazing it would be if we can get all of Wales involved in Lean. How cool would that be? We've had 1,000+ people tour our facility over the last few years. We don't market it, but we open up our doors and we share what we learn, just as other people shared their learnings to us. So imagine us all here, how much we can do, what impact we can all make by not just working with ourselves, but working and sharing with other companies across your own networks. So my challenge, after you leave this summit, not what can you do, what will you do? What one thing will you do to take your business or take your personal self forward? Thank you.
And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for the latest Lean content.